This is my recap of a new show for me to recap, which is RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 6, Episode 1, RuPaul's Big Opening. So right off the bat, I'm going to be honest, saying that I've never been to a drag show. I've just no experience with it. I am approaching the show with sort of my two credentials being my love and incredible fascination with competitive reality shows and my opinions about what makes a good character or performer in general. So I have seen the previous 5 seasons of the show as well as the All-Star season, and I've seen them all many, many times. I've seen Paris is Burning on Netflix, and that's sort of the extent of it. So if you have more opinions, agree with me, disagree with me, you want to add some cultural references, you want to give some sort of historical information, please hit the comments, let me know. So I'm not pretending to be an expert, I am just giving you opinion on what I'm watching. So this is the premiere episode, and the way they did this was they split the premiere into basically 2 weeks. So they take 7 of the contestants, introduce them, do a challenge, and eliminate 1. Then the next week they will take the other 7 contestants, same thing, eliminate 1. So we're going to lose the same number of contestants per episode as you have in any previous season, which is 1 per episode. The difference is this week we have to focus on just 7 of the contestants, which I really like because it gives me a chance to kind of match up their normal appearance, their drag appearance, their normal persona, their drag persona, which of course is all related, their names, kind of trying to get a handle on that, which is a lot when there's 14. You don't ever remember all of them. And it's interesting because this is kind of what Project Runway Under the Gun did, although I'm sure that they did not know that this was happening in both shows. So it's just kind of a weird timing thing, but I like it, and it gave me an opportunity to kind of really take notes. And right now I could tell you all their names, and I could kind of tell you who they are and what they're about, and I'm going to. So first I'm going to go ahead and explain the episode, what happened, and then at the end I'm going to kind of go through the girls, the contestants, and mention my opinion on their character. Okay, so we open up with, we meet all the girls, they all come in, they do their big kind of, you know, this is me, and they're all just really on top of things. We get the big twist that there's only 7 of them right now, and that they're going to have an elimination, and everyone's kind of unclear. I'm sure that they've watched previous seasons and we're not prepared for this. The first challenge, the first I guess mini challenge, I can't remember what name it has, is a photo shoot, and it's always interesting because it makes them really uncomfortable, and you see more of their real personalities when someone's uncomfortable. So they had to jump off of this platform and kind of have a mid-air photo, and it was very interesting. And let's see, Laganja Estranja won, and the reward was that they had all these boxes of different shows, popular shows. Basically, I think they're all still running. So it was like, Here Comes Honey Boo Boo and Dancing with the Stars, and each box contained a bunch of materials that kind of was related. And they have a high fashion look inspired, using this material inspired by the show. Great challenge. You get to kind of see them creating a look. You get to see them integrating the show or be inspired by the show, along with having to actually complete a look. So they all complete their look. They walk the runway. We have Mike Ruiz, who's the photographer, is one of the judges. Adam Lambert, who I'm not real familiar. I know the name, but I'm not real familiar with kind of what kind of guy he is. And we have our standard. We have RuPaul. We have Michelle Visage, and we have Santino Rice. So one of the things that's big for me, and I don't know why this season has hit me so much harder than the other ones, is that I want to see a fully realized character that has depth and has more than just shtick. So I've been giving this a lot of thought. I was talking to a friend, and one of the things I noticed with RuPaul is that when RuPaul talks, it feels like this fully developed person. You see the full range of emotions. RuPaul's a really clear philosophy of when he performs what that looks like. And I want to see that in the performers. I want to see a fully realized character that doesn't fall back on affectations or sound bites or certain mannerisms that they just pull out when they're nervous. I want to see this full character. Okay. That being said, I think a lot of the performers fell short on that, where they fell back on these particular mannerisms. So I do enjoy Michelle and Santino. they have a tendency to butt heads on certain topics, and I find it funny because it's so obvious. They're not even pretending to like it when the other person talks. They just are like. Oh. So anyway, so I'm gonna kind of go through the performers, which was we started out with. I'm going through the order that they appeared in the workroom. So we have Adore Delano, who's 23, sort of the kind of the wide-eyed youth, not as polished, referred to themselves as polish remover. In the challenge, ended up being safe. The outfit wasn't really put together, but one of the things that saved Adore was a really good storyline. So when they started explaining the look, they were really clear about, like, oh, you know, I wanted to look like Heatherette before they even learned how to sew. I'm a sucker for comedy. If someone can make me laugh, I'm going to love them. That is true across any show I watch, and you'll hear me say that in other shows as well. So I like Adore. Ben Delacreme is another one that I instantly like. 31, has sort of only 31, but feels much older, and that's because their look is very retro. Reminds me a little bit of Pan Am. Refers to themselves as terminally delightful. Ended up winning. The outfit that they had for the runway was by far, it was like a real outfit. Like it had a dress, and it had seams, and it really was like they came out and you're like, this isn't something they made. This is clearly something they brought with them that, you know, they kind of like put some stuff on and called it a new look. So I was really impressed. It was a very good win. Gia Gunn, 23, has that nanny voice, and sort of refers to themselves that their big thing is they're pretty. It hasn't shown themselves to be overly intelligent. It hasn't really shown a lot of humor or wit. They sort of feel like, my impression is that they're beautiful, so good enough. They were the ones who kept saying, absolutely, like to everything. So I wasn't impressed. I don't think they could probably get pretty far just on that alone, but I'm not overly impressed. Laganja Estranja has these 24 dance, very competitive. Won the photo challenge, and so was the one who was able to give out all the boxes to all the contestants. Has, in both the interview and the runway, had these like really fake mannerisms that bothered me. And you could see it, unless it was just the editing, you could see it with the judges' responses were kind of like, what is going on? Because like if you've ever had a conversation with someone where you're trying to have a conversation and they're like just pulling out like okay, and you're like, what? Like, what? So that's kind of how I felt watching, was like their characters all built on these building blocks of like phrases and sound bites. And that's not a character, that's like one of those dolls who pull the string and then they like spit out a line. So next we had April Carrion, 24, from Puerto Rico, came in the military outfit. I don't really have a strong opinion at all. Complained a lot during the challenge about how difficult it was. I don't have a lot of sympathy for people that come in, and it's a pretty straightforward challenge. It's not like, cut your hair off and knit a coat out of it. I don't have a lot of sympathy for people that just come on to a show like this and just are like, oh, it's so hard, when they're given kind of a mediocre challenge. So, mediocre difficulty challenge. So, I don't know how I feel about them. Kelly Mantle, 37, actor. Dead on reminds me of this designer from Project Runway Canada, like enough to where I was like almost convinced it had to be the same person. Seemed pretty good, kind of didn't really, just wasn't quite enough. The hair was really flat, really distracting. It was like they had a really good wig, and then they just kept wearing it. It just kept getting flatter and flatter, and they're like, close enough. Because it was just real flat through here, and I like them with big hair, really wild hair, and so to see this like super limp hair is really like, what? And they are the one who went home. They seemed really, I wish I could have seen more from Kelly, but it wasn't the case. And then the last one was Vivacious, 40, club kid. had probably the most memorable entrance in the sense that they came in with this big outfit that was like, these shoulders were up here and then this fake head and this big entrance, and everyone's like, oh, and then they like had to reach up and they were supposed to unzip and like reveal, but it was like, so it was like super anticlimactic. So that was, everyone's kind of like, oh. So anyway, that kind of cracked me up. This is where me not having a lot of knowledge about drag queens probably hurts me the most, because I don't really know anything about what a club look is supposed to look like. They're not necessarily fishy. They're not necessarily funny. So I can't tell you if Vivacious is meeting the requirements for an effective club look. So if you know, let me know. But there we go. Those are our first 7 contestants. We lost Kelly, so we're left with Adore, Delano, Ben Delacreme, Gia Gunn, Laganja Estranja, April, Carrion, and Vivacious. So we're down to 6 for that. And then next week we get 7 more. So I'm really looking forward to it. And if you have any comments or questions, hit me up in the comments.